So, we are on Act 2 now. I'll also talk a little about the cultural background of this play. And in Act 2, 4 weeks later, so what happened 4 weeks before?
What are you doing here? Well, come on in. Don't stand there gaping at me. Have they given you a holiday or did you just decide you would get a better dinner here? Can't you even say hello?
Hello, Agatha. You didn't give me a chance. Where's Grandma?
Why aren't you in school? Look at your face and clothes. Where have you been?
I got a little dirty coming home. I walked part of the way through the woods.
Why didn't you put on your middy blouse and your old brown coat?
Oh, stop asking me questions. Where's Grandma?
Where ought any clean person be at this time of day? She's taking a bath.
Is anybody coming for dinner?
She didn't say anything about you coming.
How could she, stupid? She didn't know.
Then what are you doing here?
Leave me alone. I don't feel well.
Why don't you feel well? Who ever heard of a person going for a walk in the woods when they didn't feel well?
Oh, leave me alone. I came home because I was sick.
You look alright.
But I don't feel alright. I can't even come home without everybody nagging at me.
Don't think you are fooling me, young lady. You might pull the wool over some people's eyes, but I bet you have been up to something again. Well, you wait right here till I tell your grandmother. And if you feel so sick, you certainly won't want any dinner. A good dose of
Rhubarb.
and soda will fix you up.
Mary makes a face in the direction Agatha has gone and stops sniffing. She looks nervously around the room, then goes to a low mirror and tries several experiments with her face in an attempt to make it look sick and haggard. Mrs. Tilford, followed by Agatha, enters. Mrs. Tilford is a large, dignified woman in her 60s with a pleasant, strong face.
Why didn't you put some cold water on your chest? Do you want to catch your death of cold at your age? Did you have to hurry so?
Mary, what are you doing home?
Mary rushes to her and buries her head in Mrs. Tilford's dress, crying. Mrs. Tilford lets her cry for a moment while she pats her head, then puts an arm around the child and leads her to a sofa.
Never mind, dear. Now stop crying and tell me what is the matter.
It's so good to see you, Grandma. You didn't come to visit me all last week.
I couldn't, dear, but I was coming tomorrow.
I missed you so. I was awful homesick.
I'm glad that that's all it was. I was frightened when Agatha said you were not well.
Did I say that? I said she needed a good dose of rhubarb and soda. Most likely she only came home for Wednesday night fudge cake.
We all get homesick. But how did you get here? Did Miss Karen drive you over?
I walked most of the way and then a lady gave me a ride and
Did she have to walk through the woods in her very best coat?
Mary, do you mean you left without permission?
I ran away, Grandma. They didn't know.
That was a very bad thing to do and they'll be worried. Agatha, phone Miss Wright and tell her Mary is here. John will drive her back before dinner.
No, Grandma, don't do that. Please don't do that. Please let me stay.
But darling, you can't leave school anytime you please.
Oh, please, Grandma, don't send me back right away. You know how they punish me.
I don't think they'll be that angry. Come, you're acting like a foolish little girl.
Grandma, please, I can't go back. I can't. They'll kill me. They will, Grandma. They'll kill me.
Never mind phoning now, Agatha.
If you are going to let her,
Stop crying, Mary.
It's so nice here, Grandma.
I'm glad you like being home with me. But at your age, you can hardly... What made you say such a terrible thing about Miss Wright and Miss Dovey? You know they wouldn't hurt you.
Oh, but they would.
She breaks off, looks around as if hunting for a clue to her next word, then dramatically.
I fainted today.
Fainted.
Yes, I did. My heart, I had a pain in my heart. I couldn't help having a pain in my heart, and when I fainted right in class, they called Cousin Joe, and he said I didn't. He said it was maybe only that I ate my breakfast too fast, and Miss Wright blamed me for it.
I'm sure if Joseph said it wasn't serious, it wasn't.
But I did have a pain in my heart, honest.
Have you still got it?
I guess I haven't got it much anymore, but I feel really weak, and I was so scared of Miss Wright being so mean to me just because I was sick.
Scared of Karen? Nonsense. It's perfectly possible that you had a pain, but if you had really been sick, your cousin Joseph would have certainly known it. It's not nice to frighten people by pretending to be sick when you aren't.
I didn't want to be sick, but I'm always getting punished for everything.
You mustn't imagine things like that, child, or you'll grow up to be a very unhappy woman. I'm not going to scold you anymore for coming home this time, though I suppose I should. Run along upstairs and wash your face and change your dress, and after dinner, John will drive you back. Run along.
I can stay for dinner.
Yes.
Maybe I could stay till the first of the week. Saturday is your birthday. I could be here with you.
We don't celebrate my birthday, dear. You'll have to go back to school after dinner.
She hesitates, then goes up to Mrs. Stilford and puts her arms around the older woman's neck.
How much do you love me?
As much as all the words and all the books and all the world.
Remember when I was little and you used to tell me that right before I went to sleep? And it was a rule nobody could say another single word after you finished? You used to say, world, and then I had to shut my eyes tight.
And sometimes you were naughty and didn't shut them.
I miss you an awful lot, Grandma.
And I miss you, but I'm afraid my Latin is too rusty. You learn it better in school.
But wouldn't I stay out the rest of this term? After the summer, maybe I won't mind it so much. I study hard, honest, and
You're an earnest little coaxer, but it's out of the question. Back you go tonight. Let's not have any more talk about it now, and let's have no more running away from school, ever.
then I really have to go back there tonight?
Of course.
You don't love me. You don't care whether they kill me or not.
Mary.
You don't. You don't. You don't care what happens to me.
But I do care that you're talking this way.
I'm sorry I said that, Grandma. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Forgive me?
What made you talk like that?
I'm scared, Grandma. I'm scared. They'll do dreadful things to me.
Dreadful nonsense. They'll punish you for running away. You deserve to be punished.
It's not that. It's not anything I do. It never is. They just punish me anyhow, just like they got something against me. I'm afraid of them, Grandma.
That's ridiculous. What have they ever done to you that is so terrible?
A lot of things. All the time. Miss Wright says I can't go to the boat races and
Realizing the inadequacy of this reply, she breaks off, hesitates, hunting for a more telling reply, and finally stammers.
it's after what happened today.
You mean something else besides your naughtiness and pretending to faint and then running away?
I did faint. I did pretend. They just said that to make me feel bad. Anyway, it wasn't anything that I did.
What was it then?
I can't tell you.
Why?
Because you're just going to take their part.
Very well. Now run upstairs and get ready for dinner.
It was all about Miss Dobie and Mrs. Mortar. They were talking awful things. And Peggy and Evelyn heard them and Miss Dobie found out and then they made us move our rooms.
What has that to do with you? I don't understand a word you're saying.
They made us move our rooms. They said we couldn't be together anymore. They're afraid to have us near them. That's what it is. And they're taking it out on me. They're scared of you.
For a little girl, you're imagining a lot of big things. Why should they be scared of me at all? Am I such an unpleasant old lady?
They're afraid you'll find out.
Find out what?
Things.
Run along, Mary. I hope you'll get more coherent as you get older.
All right, but there are a lot of things. They have secrets or something. And they're afraid I'll find out and tell you.
There's not necessarily anything wrong with people having secrets.
But they've got funny ones. Peggy and Evelyn heard Mrs. Mortar telling Miss Dobie that she was jealous of Miss Wright marrying cousin Joe.
Now you shouldn't repeat things like that.
But that's what she said, Grandma. She said it was unnatural for a girl to feel that way.
What?
I'm just telling you what she said. She said there was something funny about it and that Miss Dobie had always been like that, even though she was a little girl, and that it was unnatural.
Stop using that silly word, Mary.
But that was the word she kept using, Grandma. And then they got mad and told Mrs. Mortar she'd have to get out.
That was probably not the reason at all.
I bet it was. Because honestly, Miss Dobie does get cranky and mean every time Cousin Joe comes. And today I heard her say to him, God damn you. And then she said she was just a jealous fool and
You've picked up some very fine words, haven't you, Mary?
that's just what she said, Grandma. And one time Miss Dobie was crying in Mrs. Wright's room and Miss Wright was trying to stop her and she said that alright, maybe she wouldn't get married right away if
How do you know all this?
we couldn't help hearing because Miss Dobie was talking awful loud and the room is right next to ours.
Who knows?
Miss Wright's room, and you can just ask Peggy and Evelyn whether we didn't hear. Almost always Miss Dobie comes in after we go to bed and stays a long time. I guess that's why they want to get rid of us, of me, because we hear things. That's why they're making us move our room and they punish me all the time for
For eavesdropping, I should think.
She has said this mechanically, with nothing definite in her mind. She is making an effort to conceal the fact that Mary's description of the life at school has shocked her.
Well, now I think we've had enough gossip, don't you? Dinner's almost ready and I can't eat with a girl who has such a dirty face.
I've heard other things too.
What? What did you say?
I've heard other things. Plenty of other things, Grandma.
What things?
Bad things.
Well, what were they?
I can't tell you.
Mary, you're annoying me very much. If you have anything to say, then say it and stop acting silly.
I mean, I can't say it out loud.
There couldn't possibly be anything so terrible that you couldn't say it out loud. Now either tell the truth or be still.
Well, a lot of things I don't understand, but it's awful. And sometimes they fight and then they make up and Miss Ruby cries, Miss Wright gets mad and then they make up again and there are funny noises and we get scared.
Noises? I suppose you girls have a happy time imagining a murder.
And we've seen things too, funny things. I tell you, but I want to whisper it.
Why must you whisper it?
I don't know, I just got to.
Climbs on the sofa next to Mrs. Stilford and begins whispering. At first the whisper is slow and hesitant, but it gradually works itself up to fast, excited talking. In the middle of it, Mrs. Stilford stops her.
Do you know what you're saying?
Without answering, Mary goes back to the whispering until the older woman takes her by the shoulders and turns her around to stare in her face.
Mary, are you telling me the truth?
Honest. You just ask Peggy and Evelyn and...
After a moment, Mrs. Stilford gets up and begins to pace about the room. She is no longer listening to Mary, who keeps up a running fire of conversation.
They know too. And maybe there are other kids who know, but we've always been frightened and so we didn't ask. And one night I was going to go and find out, but I got scared and we went to bed early so we wouldn't hear. But sometimes I couldn't help it. But we never talked about it much. We just thought they'd find out and... Oh, Grandma, don't make me go back to that awful place.
What?
Don't make me go back to that place. I just couldn't stand it anymore. Really, Grandma, I'm so unhappy there. And if only I could stay out the rest of the term while and...
Be still a minute. No, you won't have to go back.
Honest?
Honest.
You're the nicest, loveliest grandma in all the world. You're not mad at me?
I'm not mad at you. Now go upstairs and get ready for dinner.
Mary kisses her and runs happily and left. Mrs. Stilford stands staring after her for a long moment. Then very slowly she puts on her eyeglasses and crosses to the phone. She dials a number.
Is Miss Wright in? Never mind.
Dials another number.
Dr. Carden, please. Mrs. Stilford.
She remains absolutely motionless while she waits. When she does speak, her voice is low and tense.
Joseph, can you come to see me right away? Yes, I'm perfectly well. No, but it's important, Joseph. Very important. I must see you right away. I can't tell you over the phone. Can't you come sooner? It's not about Mary's fainting. No, I said it's not about Mary, Joseph. In one way, it's about Mary. But will the hospital take so long? Very well, Joseph. Make it as soon as you can.
Hangs up the receiver, sits for a moment undecided, then takes a breath. She dials another number.
Mrs. Munn, please. This is Mrs. Tilford. Miriam, this is Amelia Tilford. I have something to tell you. Something very shocking, I'm afraid. Something about the school and Evelyn and Mary.
So now she is dialing Evelyn's mother, Mrs. Munn. And you know what it is about. But my question to you is that now I will talk a little about the cultural context of the children's hour. But so we know what the rumors are and what the gossip is and how it's conveyed to the unsuspecting grandmother. So two questions. Now the play has often been critiqued very heavily on one ground, and you can look up all the reviews of the play. Can a 60-year-old grandmother be so credulous of a 12-year-old girl's narrative? What do you think? Is it possible, or is it the way that she speaks her lies?
It's frightening just how
Convincing?
accurate, and convincing Mary is.
So accurate?
Yeah, and it's precisely because of her age that she believes Mary, like she couldn't possibly make up such things.
Okay. And how does she make up such, because what does she say, that we hear things and we hear noises and we all know what the reference, what kind of noises she is talking or referring to, and sometimes we also see certain acts being performed next door and we are so scared to spell these things out aloud. So therefore, because the place frightened me and overwhelmed me, therefore I must leave that place, therefore I need, so that's the only trick that could have worked with her grandmother, otherwise she was all set to pack her back. So that was the last, that ace up her sleeve that she uses. Now now coming to your response, that how would a girl of 12 know so much about these intimate acts of lesbianism? What's her reference? I mean, they did not have so much of television and this kind of exposure, so how would she know? Reading books, okay. And yeah, Sharath, continue.
No, she's reading that book.
Now go to page 27.
Yeah,
And there is a reference.
Yeah,
There is a reference, and very interestingly, it's a French book. It's a typical American thing to do, that whenever there is something very gross or explicit sex, it has to be French. Yeah, that's the stereotype. Of course, America being what it was, and even the Midwest still is, by and large, a puritanical country. Okay, but French have always been associated with free sex, free ideas, free thinking. So, Mademoiselle de Maupin, okay, and this is a book that is in great demand, in great circulation among these little girls, and giving them certain facts of life. Okay, perhaps it has a collection of short stories, or what, perhaps you can look it up if there was a book like this and what were the contents of the book. Okay, and yeah, so that's a good, and this is something very typical of hostel girls reading the so-called forbidden books and texts and getting their ideas about sex and intimacy from such kinds of books. So therefore, she cooks up certain things, she takes her references from here, there, from gossips, the kind of things that children talk about, and it's very pointedly an all girls school. Okay, they don't even have a shadow of, or they don't have any male shadow on the, except this good doctor, Joe, who is already betrothed to one of the teachers. Apart from that, they must be having caretakers and janitors, but they don't have any male teachers around. They don't have anyone except, so it's the kind of exclusive schools that, you must have seen Julia Roberts' Mona Lisa Smile. Okay, so can you make some kind of cultural comparison between them, because more or less that movie is also set in the same times, the early 20th century, the Midwest. Now talking about the cultural context of the play, so this was written in 1934, and homosexuality was considered illegitimate in America during till the 50s. Actually, what was the defining moment for gay rights and gays coming out in the open? When was that? The Stonewall Riots. How many of you do not know about Stonewall? You do not know about what is Stonewall? Okay, so I'll talk about that also, but remember that very interestingly, 1934 was the time when censorship came in a big way on the American screen, in Hollywood, in cinema. Okay, before that, censorship was not that strict. It wasn't really too much, okay, or too so excessive, but there came a point when censorship became very strict, and that was from 1934 onwards. And there was something called Hollywood Production Code, which banned all representation of homosexuality in all films. Earlier there were references, there were depictions, but from 1934 there was a complete and utter ban on depiction of homosexuality. Now, by the late 40s and the early 50s, especially in the Midwest, the anti-homosexual feelings were on the rise and they were prohibited, banned from entering public places. I mean, if you are openly gay or homosexual, you cannot enter a restaurant, for example, or even a bar or a pub. So, what was this Stonewall place? It was a bar. Yeah, it was a bar and a pub kind of a place. Now, interestingly, even if people were accused of homosexuality, even their homes were raided and people were to, their names would come out in the local newspapers and they had to be shunned. Yeah, so it was that strong. Today it is unimaginable. Okay, but we are talking about, and then when the play Cat on a Hot Tin Roof came out, it was Tennessee Williams himself was a closet homosexual in the beginning and later on he came out about his homosexuality. But Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, many people said that it was like giving expression, brick is Tennessee Williams, okay, because someone who has been conditioned to repress his feelings for his lover. There was a person called, and this name you should know, Henry Hay. Henry Hay. Okay, he founded something called the Matteson Society, a society of and for the gay people, and they launched very significantly in 1953 something called One magazine. It was called One by Matteson Society with Henry Hay as its founding member, and its aim was to give scientific and historical references to homosexuality, to give some informed ideas about homosexuality. So, this was first of a kind thing to come out, a magazine, a full-fledged magazine, and a society that came, and it openly called itself an gay, and idea was to give scientific, historical and critical points of view. So, they would publish scientific articles, historical articles, and as well as stories about people, about gay and lesbian people. And of course, Lillian Hellman's Children's Hour came out in 1934, but also there was in 1954 a play called The Immoralist. It was an adaptation of Andre Gide's novel called The Immoralist, and there was a play based on it, and it was, the play was, or the adaptation was done by someone, a pair of people, Ruth and Augustus Goetz. So, Andre Gide's The Immoralist was turned or adapted into a play, and The Immoralist also has a strong overtones of homosexuality. Andre Gide himself was homosexual. So, it was about, they explored this so-called concept of homosexuality as well as the prevalent homophobia, all these anti-homosexual feelings in America. And then in 1953, there was a play called Tea and Sympathy. Tea and Sympathy, what a lovely sounding name. Tea, so I will offer you tea as well as my sympathy. The playwright was Robert Anderson, and this became sort of a radical play for those times. We are talking about 1953. Now it is about a boy, and it is again about an all boys school, that kind of an establishment. And this boy, he does not play football, he does not bully others, he loves arts and music and literature, and he is also less muscular and shorter, more feminine looking than other boys, and naturally in an all boys school such kind of a person sticks out and is mercilessly bullied and ragged and even sometimes beaten up by other boys in the school. Now there is a very tyrannical kind of a headmaster in that school. He also punishes the boy and bullies the boy frequently because he is treated as some kind of a pansy or a fairy, you know the terms they have. So he is ridiculed for this not being a man enough or manly enough or masculine enough. So we have done Judith Butler and gender performativity, we know the idea. So gender is also performance, that is the basic idea, and this boy falls short on that performance. There are certain scenes in the play which were considered quite shocking for those times, because he is actually encouraged by his friends to indulge in some kind of a sexual encounter with a woman, but he is so frightened and so intimidated by now that he fails to perform, and then that seals his fate, that he is indeed a homosexual, and he is completely now, by this time his eradication or process of exclusion is quite complete. Now then we have a new character, the headmaster's young wife. She is also his second wife, and then we realize she is bullied and traumatized by this husband who performs a role which is completely opposite to this young boy's. I mean, what is this headmaster? To be a man for him is to be aggressive, okay, to be a bully, okay, that is what a man should be all about. Okay. But and this woman is actually there is no kind of intimacy between this man and woman, and she starts falling in love with the student, yeah, and she starts inviting him over, and much younger to her, sorry, and then she starts inviting him over, and she has to make an excuse. So she tells her husband that because I feel sympathy or sorry for the boy, so I will offer him tea and sympathy, but then it leads to something else. Okay, so that's and as you can infer, it was quite a radical play for 1953. And then of course you have Stonewall Riots. Sometime during the late 60s or early 70s, exact date if you remember, was it 1970 or 71 perhaps? Yeah, so Stonewall Riots, and what was happening there? There was a police raid on this bar, on this pub, where which was basically an all gay club, okay, and there was a police raid. Now what was generally done whenever police would raid such kinds of bodies or associations, they would disperse or get quietly arrested and then later on released, okay, that was their fate. That day they resisted, okay, therefore riots. So they resisted by hitting back at the policeman. So there were some acts of violence, they refused to get arrested, they fought back. Okay, therefore this sudden attention on the plight of gays and lesbians. So that was this background, and you remember Dog Day Afternoon, okay. The movie was made in the aftermath of Stonewall Riots. Before that, depiction of homosexuality was not, before that there was hardly any references made to. Yes, there is a movie, a late 60s movie called Reflections in a Golden Eye, and that is also based on a novel, a woman novelist, okay, Reflections in a Golden Eye. Where Marlon Brando is married to Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah, it's a John Huston movie, but and he is an army officer. He is a major or a sort of a general, and we are told that just like Cat in a Hot Tin Roof, this woman is left unfulfilled, and because her husband has desires for a younger cadet. Okay, so it's an army kind of a cantonment establishment, and he starts having but the boy, his love towards this younger man is unrequited, because the younger man falls in love with his wife. It becomes more complicated. Reflections in a Golden Eye. It's based on a great novel and really a very good film, which didn't really get that kind of appreciation that would have got it, I mean, in spite of the presence of Elizabeth Taylor and Marlon Brando at his best. But the movie just remains, one of those unsung gems. So, if at all you get the opportunity, do watch it. Yeah, so that's what we were talking about. So, gradually homosexuality coming out of closets with films and literature like this. So, yeah, and The Children's Hour was also made into a great film twice actually. It was made into movie, and both interestingly, well, yeah, there was an adaptation of a real life story. It was called Those Three. Those Three. It's a love triangle, Those Three. Yeah, it was directed by William Wyler, and later on who directed The Children's Hour, starring Shirley MacLaine as Martha and Audrey Hepburn as Karen. Yeah, and the movie, as movies are prone to, it was quite delicate in its referencing the word homosexuality. Okay, so they tried to skirt around it, but we know, and the end here says something else. I mean, if you have read the entire play, then at the end there is a sort of a twist. So, I think that movie tried to gloss over it, but still it was considered controversial for 1961, and there was a very conservative film critic called Bosley Crowther. Are you familiar with the great film critics? We have André Bazin in France, and we have Truffaut and Godard. They all started their careers as film critics, but that was France. In America, you had people like Bosley Crowther, and he was known for his extremely conservative ideas, and he ripped the movie. Okay, he didn't like the movie at all, because he felt that all this, the movie is touching on a subject that is not really, that really doesn't deserve to be discussed, and that was the idea. And same Bosley Crowther was extremely critical of another groundbreaking movie called Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah. And why? What's the problem with Bonnie and Clyde apart from its violence? They weren't married. Okay. And also the fact that the hero is impotent, and then openly discussing impotency on screen was something that the hyper masculine mid-western America did not really like. Okay, so there has to be a typical construct of masculinity and all this. So after that you had very enlightened critics, for example Pauline Kael. Okay, so you should be familiar with these names, and who started accepting, giving reviews to films which were so offbeat in treatment. Yeah, so how critics also influence what kinds of films should be made. That's an interesting study there. All right, so we'll continue with scene 2 now. We'll continue with Mary and Agatha, and then we need Rosalie. So Lisa can continue being Rosalie. The same as scene 1, the curtain has been lowered to mark the passing of a few hours. Mary is lying on the floor playing with a puzzle Agatha appears lugging blankets and pillows across the room. Almost at the door, she stops and gives Mary an annoyed look.
And see to it that she doesn't get my good quilt dirty. And let her wear your green pajamas.
Who?
Who? Don't you ever keep your ears open? Rosalie. Rosalie Wells is coming over to spend the night with you.
You mean she's going to sleep here?
You heard me.
What for?
Do I know all the crazy things that are happening around here? Your grandmother phones Mrs. Wells all the way to New York, $3.85, and family starving.
Yeah, do you get the humor here? That for no reason your grandmother is making those long distance phone calls while families starve. Do you think that a semi-educated housekeeper is much smarter than Mrs. Tilford? Yes.
And family starving, and Mrs. Wells wanted to know if Rosalie could stay here until tomorrow.
Oh, couldn't Evelyn Munn come instead?
Sure, we'll have the whole town over to entertain you.
I won't let Rosalie Wells wear my new pajamas.
Don't tell me what you want to. You will act like a lady for once in your life. Come on in, Rosalie. Just go in there and make yourself at home. Have you had your dinner?
Yes, ma'am.
Hang up your pretty coat. Have you had your bath?
Yes, ma'am, this morning.
Well, you better have another one.
She is climbing the stairs as Rosalie comes into the room. Mary, lying in front of the couch, is hidden from her. Gingerly, Rosalie sits down on a chair. Now, why should Rosalie appear suddenly? She has been taken out of the school. So, therefore, this girl, mischievous character, Mary, she asks, where is Evelyn? So, she should also be coming. So, she expects that now that she has taken her revenge on Karen and Martha. Yeah, so mothers are now parents are now slowly taking the children out of that school. And you know how hard it was for these two women. They didn't come from very rich background. Okay, so there was a reference that how we have been saving money and how hard we have struggled to build up this place finally. They are also in debt. Yes.
Ooh. Ooh.
Rosalie, frightened, starts hurriedly for the door. Mary sits up, laughs.
You're a goose.
Oh, so it's you. Well, who likes to hear funny noises at night? You could have been a werewolf.
A werewolf wouldn't want you.
You know everything, don't you?
Mary laughs. Rosalie comes over, stands staring at puzzle.
Isn't it funny about school?
What's funny about it?
Don't act like you can come home every night.
Maybe I can from now on. Maybe I'm never going back.
Am I going back? I don't want to stay home.
What will you give to know?
Nothing. I'll ask Mama.
Will you give me a free PL if I tell you?
Alright. Lois Fisher told Helen that you were very smart.
That's an old one. I won't take it.
You've got to take it.
No.
You don't know anything.
Here, it's like a slang. Give me a compliment. And I will. So, Mary's character, I mean, she is the most interesting of all people here.
No, I was at the hospital.
How's it getting on?
Just the same, no money, badly equipped, lousy laboratory, every day growling at everybody else, everybody growling at everybody else. Me, you didn't bring me here to talk about the hospital. We are talking like people waiting for the muffins to be passed out. What's the matter?
I have something to tell you.
Well, after that,
It's a very hard thing to say, Joseph.
hard for you to say to me. Don't be worried about Mary. I guess that she ran home to tell you about her fate. It was caused by nothing but bad temper and was very clumsily managed at that. Amelia, she's a terribly spoiled.
I heard about the thing. That's not what's worrying me.
Are you in some trouble?
We all are in trouble, bad trouble.
Me? Me, you mean? Nothing's the matter with me.
When did you last see Karen?
Today, this afternoon,
Oh, not since 7 o'clock?
what's happened since 7 o'clock?
Joseph, you've been engaged to Karen for a long time. Are your plans any more definite than they were a year ago?
Can you get ready to buy the wedding? You can get ready to buy the wedding present. We'll have the wedding here, if you don't mind. The smell of clean little girls in boiled linen would worry me.
Why has Karen decided so suddenly to make it definite?
She has not suddenly decided anything. The school is pretty well on its feet, and now that Miss Morta is leaving,
Yes, I've heard about their putting Mrs. Mortar out.
putting her out, well, maybe. But a nice summer for a trip and a promise that a good niece will support you the rest of your life is an enviable way of being put out.
Don't you find it odd, Joseph, that they want so much to get rid of that silly, harmless woman?
I don't know what you're talking about, but it isn't odd at all. Lily Mortar is not a harmless woman. Although God knows she's silly enough. She's a nasty, tiresome, spoiled old bitch. If you're forming a Mortar welfare society, you're wasting your time. It's not.
It's not like you.
It's not like you to waste your time. Now, what's it that's really on your mind?
You must not marry Ken.
Okay, we stop here.